remembering what God did to honor him. All the feasts established in the Bible were intended to remember and thank God for the blessings received, but fundamentally, to make the people rejoice in God's presence. 67 days a year were dedicated to the Lord. In addition, 1 year out of every 7 was to be consecrated, a sabbatical year in which the land rested. There would be no sowing or harvesting. How would they feed themselves? God had promised to provide an abundant harvest in the 6th year. I will send my blessing in the 6th year so that the land will produce enough for 3 years. When you sow again in the 8th year, you will still be eating from the last harvest. And even in the 9th year, you will still be eating from the last harvest until the new harvest comes. Leviticus 25 verses 20 to 22. The purpose of the Jubilee was for all the people to devote themselves completely to knowing God. The nation was to gather together to hear and study the Word of God taught by the priests and Levites, Deuteronomy 31 verses 10 to 13. A whole year to know God. No one was to worry about food because God promised well-being. He would provide an abundant harvest that would last for 3 seasons. How interested God is in being with his children, and how despicable we are to ignore the desire of his heart and reject his invitation to be with him. Did the Israelites ever celebrate the year of Jubilee? There is no biblical evidence that this ever happened. And why did they never obey this law? Because they were greedy. Who would miss the opportunity to multiply their wealth by not working for a year? God did not want to harm them. On the contrary, if they obeyed, they would be blessed. The Lord's commandments are not meant to make us suffer, but to free us from suffering and help us become spiritually mature. Our carnal nature tells us that setting aside time to serve God will undermine our interests. However, family and business will never be more blessed than when we devote ourselves to God and His service. Who today sets aside a year of their life to devote to God? Just imagine the reaction of parents if one of their children suggested taking a sabbatical year to devote to God after finishing high school. They would protest. And what about the Lord's Day? How many truly sanctify it for God? How many days a year do we set aside to remember and thank God for what He has done for us and with us? The message is clear. God longs for friendship with His children. Will we respond to His invitation?